Suppose you brought together 12 of the best auto racing drivers in the world to compete in equally prepared cars in a series of races on different type courses. What would the result be? For a quarter of a century, the International Race of Champions has posed that question and posted the outcome with resounding success.
If you can get invited into IROC, then you've done something really well.
Immediately, jumped in the air and said, yeah, man, I'll go.
We knew darn good and well, especially in those days, that if you got invited to the IROC series, you had to be awfully good.
12 of the best drivers in the world competing against each other, never having the idea that I would ever get the opportunity to be a part of that group.
The thing just went, oh, and I went, oh, and then it went, oh, and I went, oh, and then from there on, it was just hold on, baby.
And to get a win, after going through everything that I had gone through leading up to that, was probably my biggest victory ever.
And then we had a fourth win, which just was more gravy. Everybody was calling me Mr.
Payoff would be a 6-man grand finale on the infield road course at Daytona International Speedway for a winner's purse of $54,000. But before the first green flag, an international incident occurred.
And we've just been told there's a controversy before we start the first race. Emerson Fittipaldi, the pole sitter, and George Fulmer have been moved to the back of the starting grid because they were late for the drivers' meeting. Jackie Stewart is after the story, and here he is right now with Emerson Fittipaldi.
Yeah, I think this rule is ridiculous, Jackie. We are not schoolboys. We are top racing drivers, and this is an international race.
Oh, now I remember that. They sent Emma to the back. That's right, because he missed the driver's meeting. Yeah, he didn't think driver's meetings were important. But he was warned. He didn't like that, yeah.
The action was entertaining and plentiful during the weekend of qualifiers. Mark Donohue won the first and third, and road racing standout George Fulmer won the second. But Donohue was no match for Revson, Unser, Pearson, Fulmer, or Foyt at Daytona. With an 8-second margin of victory, Mark had written the first chapter of IROC history. But the question was, would it be the only one?
I got into one of the suites where they had a TV set. Back in those days, you didn't have a TV set in every suite. And I kind of watched this thing, and I said, that's not our race. Look, holy cow. And I'm by myself, and I'm talking to myself, and I said, oh my goodness, that's a pretty good race. And when it was all over, I went over to see Bill France Sr. He said, son, I saw that race yesterday, and he says, they're kind of funny cars that you have. I said, well, they were Porsches. And he said, oh, well, if you got yourself another kind of car and change the way you're doing your program, he says, you might have a good show there. We'd like to have you run the races here.
So while the hunt for a new manufacturer was on, Penske turned to former sports car racer and now Penske employee Jay Signori.
I probably started working with Roger through my acquaintance at Mark Donohue. Mark and I became very friendly in younger years of racing, and we would go to the tracks, and we'd see Roger there with his birdcage Maseratis and Porsches and Coopers as he went through the years.
We talked about this, obviously, and it was my early years in racing, and at that time we had IROC, we had NASCAR, we had Formula One, we had Can-Am, and a little bit of Indy, and I guess that, this was a way that maybe we could generate some income, for the race team.
Jay, who was an individual that knew what a surface plate was and knew what gear shifts were, and he came from Roger's direction and thought that this is an individual that could do a great job for us. And not only has he done a great job, he's been the person that has made it all happen. He and his wife, Barbara.
Goal number 16 starts on the Goal number 16 starts on the pole. Graham Hill, also from Formula One.
In its second season, the International Race of Champions was continuing to establish its credibility as a true global competition by attracting some of the best racers in the world. While Mark Donohue captured the initial series championship in 1974 driving a Porsche, when IROC II began 7 months later, there was a new car for the competitors.
Camaro was a great brand, and certainly at that point, you know, we had the ability to go forward and put these cars together, which gave us a tremendous opportunity to race them. It gave us a big side to put the ID on, and I think overall it was an American series, really, from the standpoint of the tracks we were running on. And Porsche really wasn't in the business to support, from a manufacturer's perspective, what we needed. We needed support on engines, we needed support on parts.
The series added oval track racing for the first time with the addition of Michigan International Speedway and the oval at Daytona to the schedule. The addition of the ovals brought a different set of skills into play.
It was a rude awakening for some people. I remember Ronnie Peterson one time, I think it was at Daytona. He was, he for one, he seemed to be really, really lost, or something like that. He didn't quite understand how much of a run you can get at a guy, and it can catch you out. I mean, it always, something like that caught every one of us out one time or another.
Riverside International Raceway played host to the series for 2 events on consecutive days in October of 1974 and provided the drama for one of the series' most amazing comeback stories.
They're going very slowly into this starting position. It's a very slow start so far. Remember, the Formula One drivers have very little experience about rolling starts, Keith. They're certainly moving up into a slow start in this race.
David Pearson making a bold move up in the middle of the pack as Jody Scheckter in the goal, number 16, jumps into the lead. And we've got an accident off the start. That's Bobby Allison, number 4, on the wall. And Bobby Unser, number 11, bangs into the wall. Bobby Allison losing a wheel as he caromed off of it and went flying through the air. And my goodness, look at Bobby Unser's Camaro. Absolutely caved in on the right side. He's trapped in the car. There is the wheel rolling around that came off the number 4 car driven by Bobby Allison. Bobby Unser cannot get out. He appears to be all right. He's moving around. He's getting some help now to get out of his car. So Bobby Unser is crawling out under his own power. But Bobby Allison is being helped out of his car.
They hauled me off to the hospital. I laid there in that hospital bed. They took some x-rays and all, and I laid there on the cot. In fact, without my clothes. They took my clothes away from me, too, and they gave me a sheet to cover up with. And I laid there for a couple of hours, really, really hurting, but I didn't see anybody.
The right side of my car hit that wall like a knife. And the right side of my car and the cement wall came all the way to my seat. There was a friend of mine for many years, went to a lot of races. He had arms about the size of my legs. That guy put his hands on there and he put his feet up on that and he started pulling it and he popped that nylon and he ripped the net loose. And I got out because I'm afraid it's going to catch on fire.
After spending a few hours at the hospital, Bobby checked himself out with the help of a few of his friends, prompting a call from his attending physician.
He said, "You get back here to this hospital right away. You weren't released." I said, "You had me and you lost me." He said, No, you got to get back here." I said, "Why?" He said, "You got a broken bone in your back." "Okay, what do you do for that?" He said, "It's 30 days of bed rest." I said, "I don't have time for 30 days of bed rest. Tomorrow, I have the black car, and the black car appeared to be the best car of the bunch, and too bad, I'm racing."
And here we are, the officials waiting to see Bobby Allison bringing the lucky number 7 through number 9, and we come to the end of this third race, the qualifying race for the Daytona final that's going to take place, and Bobby Allison wins the race.
The broken bone in my back probably helped me win the race. I hurt so bad that I was really careful to stay right on the smooth part of the track. And went on and won.
The IROC series gave drivers with open wheel experience the opportunity to race in a stock car for the first time.
Graham Hill was a Formula One driver at the time, and Graham came to Riverside and he sat in the car. And most people know Graham had a really nice personality, very bubbly, very English. And he sat behind the wheel of one of our early Camaros at the time, which had manual steering, and got got behind the wheel and sat down, and at that time the wheels didn't even come off the cars. They were like a street car. They were affixed to the steering column. And he said, "Hey, mate, this is a bloody large wheel you have on this car." And I said, "Why don't you just try it and see if you like it?" And then he goes out, and goes a lap or two, comes back in and says, "Hey, mate, do you have a bigger wheel?"
As the series progressed through its first 6 seasons, the champions all came from a predominantly open wheel and road racing background.
Well, the IROC Championship is very special again because you look behind you in the point standings and you see Cale Yarborough, you see Al Unser Sr., and you see A.J. Foyt, and on and on. You know, these are all the names that, these are all the guys that if you ever needed to win a race in any discipline, you had to beat. And so from that standpoint, precious, absolutely precious.
In 1980, the stage was set for one of the most memorable IROC Championship battles in history when the series visited the Atlanta International Speedway for the series finale.
Bumps around that corner. It's got to be very careful. Mario does it! We have big action! Big action!
Mario Andretti went into the wall on the inside, and several are tangled up, 5 or 6 different cars. As they came down the main straightaway, near the start-finish line, Neil Bonnet, all right, we saw him start to drive away.
What terrible carnage.
With 7 cars eliminated in the crash, the path was clear for Bobby Allison to become the first NASCAR driver to win an IROC championship.
Here they come. Bobby Allison not only wins the race, but is the IROC 7 champion. Rick Mears crosses the line in 2nd place. Johnny Rutherford winding up 3rd. Gordy Johncock finishing 4th here in Atlanta.
The 80 IROC Championship was one of those special achievements for me. Once again, this was a continuation of this event that I thought was a really, really great event. But it also had a lot of personal credit that went with it. And I was very happy about that.
Allison's championship brought the 7th IROC season to conclusion, but there was uncertainty ahead.
And at that point, the manufacturer decided they weren't going to go forward. We didn't have sponsorship, that was strong enough to be able to sustain through that period of time. And obviously the economy at that time was tough. We had high interest rates. A lot of things were going on. And the best thing we did was said, let's take our team, let's shrink it down at that point. Hope that we can go on and reinvent it again, which we're able to do. I think it was 3 years later we were back in business.
At work, I feel guilty. Bill works 2 jobs, but after paying for daycare, gas, meals, clothes, and taxes, I end up working for nothing. What's the use?
Attention moms, now there's a brand new business that you can run right from the safety and security of your very own home. Our business is booming and we need help. So visit us at www.moms1.net and receive a free family vacation just for visiting our website. That's www.moms1.net.
On our cards used to be 21 to 23%.
They were impossible to pay down.
I couldn't keep up with my payments anymore. Cambridge lowered my monthly payments so that I'm able to manage it.
Cambridge Credit Counseling is a non-profit service that work with you and your creditors to reduce your monthly payments.
Before Cambridge, it would have taken me 15 to 20 years to get out of debt. With Cambridge, I'll be debt-free in 4.5 to 5 years.
Give Cambridge Credit Counseling a call. Find out how good it feels to be debt-free.
Woods, Montgomery, Parnevik, Norman, a friendly foursome.
Nice birdies.
Where the stakes are high,
$120,000 on the line,
but the mood is loose.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
The Skins Game Thanksgiving weekend on ABC.
College football fans get the newest BCS rankings every Monday on an expanded 90-minute SportsCenter. Tune to SportsCenter for all the latest college football news. SportsCenter at 6, followed by Monday Night Countdown at 7:30, Monday on ESPN.
I've always loved working on computers, and in the Army, that's what I do.
If you never thought about the U.S. Army or Army Reserve, think about this. There are 212 ways for you to become a soldier and work at a job you'll love. Call for this free video to find out which job is right for you. And if you call 1-800-645-ARMY right now, you'll also receive a free Army t-shirt with your video. Discover the 212 ways you can be an Army of One.
Okay, Super Texan, another great victory for a man who has won just about everything there is to win in American automobile racing. Congratulations, AJ.
While the International Race of Champions continued to attract drivers from major racing series, few could dominate. There were 8 different champions in the first 9 seasons and no driver capturing more than a handful of wins. In 1986, a driver would be issued an invitation to the series that would ignite a new generation of IROC stars. His family heritage included championships by his father and his uncle in the series, and at the age of 23, Al Unser Jr. was prepared to challenge the best drivers in the world.
IROC was something that was just totally different, and it was great to do. And you know, because of the road courses, I think we had a little bit of an edge at that time, and so it was great to be a part of it.
Al Unser Jr.'s debut at Daytona was less than auspicious. On lap 4, he found out just how tough the competition could be.
There was an accident in front of me. 2 guys got together, a couple guys got together in front of us, and you know, I was just hard on the brakes, and I got hit from behind, and then away we go, and it was all over with.
Undaunted by his performance at Daytona, Unser went on to round 2 at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course and would dominate, leading all 29 laps on his way to his first IROC victory.
Al Unser Jr. has won round 2 of the International Race of Champions.
Al Unser Jr. exhibited a skill that many want but few possess in the world of motorsports.
The new ones that came in, like Al Jr., my boy, when he came in, he says, "What do I expect, Dad?" I says, "You'll learn so quick you won't believe it." And he did. See, he went very quick, very in a very rapid pace.
He just comes in there and steps into something that is not what he is used to driving, and drives a fool out of it. And to me, that's a true race car driver.
He again was typical of all the Unsers. He could drive anything.
Following a mid-pack finish in the 3rd race of the 1986 IROC season at the Talladega Superspeedway, Little Al would travel with the IROC series to Watkins Glen International Raceway in New York with little hope for the championship. Cale Yarborough had the points lead, with Al Unser Sr. as his closest competition. The race featured several plot twists that led many to reach for their calculators to try to determine who the champion of IROC 10 might be. A great drive by Al Unser Jr. brought him to the checkered flag first, and his arrival in victory lane brought a big surprise.
The sweetest win was in 1986, and it was at the Glen. I had a fierce race with Bill Elliott. He was on my tail the entire way. Didn't know it until we come into victory lane. I'd won the race, came into victory lane, and they said, "You're the champion of IROC." And I went, "What?" You know, and we had enough points to win the championship.
Now age 24, Al Unser Jr. was the series' youngest champion and the 3rd member of the Unser family to wear the mantle IROC champion. In the years to follow, Unser would capture 11 wins, a 2nd championship, but more importantly, develop a friendship that was priceless.
You know, Dale Earnhardt was a legend in the sport, and it was always, I looked forward to racing in IROC series because I got to race against Dale Earnhardt, and ever from the very beginning, you know, in 1986 when I showed up at Daytona, you know, I saw Dale standing against the wall over there, and I need to make friends with this guy because he is the man in NASCAR, and I need to be friends with him right away.
Dale saw his son in Al Jr. You know, when you think about it, those guys played, they were banging each other and pushing each other, and I think what you might do to your son, and you know, as you see how good Junior is as he's come up, and see how those guys race together. But it was tremendous racing, and there's no question about it.
As Earnhardt leading Al Unser Jr. They come off the 4th and final corner here at Daytona. They head down toward the tri-oval. Earnhardt with Al Unser Jr. making a move to the inside now. But Earnhardt squeezes it all the way down on the apron. Earnhardt takes it, followed by Unser Jr.
Dale and I always ended up together out there somehow, some way, and it was always great racing against him.
Hey, Dave. Hey, Ted.
What took?
I was getting claustrophobic.
Sorry, man. So what's your idea?
Home installation, Teddy.
Interesting.
We'll go to people's homes, we'll set everything up, and we'll do it for free.
That's great.
I thought you'd dig it.
I gotta go. You want the light on or off?
On, please. It was getting a little spooky.
There's all kinds of great deals going on right now at Gateway. Call 1-800-GATEWAY and learn how you can get free installation when you buy a state-of-the-art computer, like the Gateway 700S with an Intel Pentium 4 processor. Also learn about Gateway's other great deals, like computers starting as low as $599, and Gateway's special no payments, no interest for 6-month plan. Just call 1-800-GATEWAY and find the deal that's right for you. That's 1-800-GATEWAY.
If you're going bald, here's good news. Rogaine, Propecia, and the latest advances in hair transplantation can restore your hair. But what's right for you? Now there's a free video that helps you decide. Call toll-free 1-888-900-HAIR for your free video from Medical Hair Restoration, the nation's leading medical group in the treatment of hair loss. That's toll-free 1-888-900-HAIR. Get the video and your hair back.
Son, that's Unser Jr., two-time Indy champ.
Hold it, guys. Winning's great, but you should understand why winners win.
Al's right. What are their pit strategies? How do exhaust layouts and wing adjustments figure in?
Good questions, John Kernan of RPM Tonight.
When you truly understand motorsports, the winning just gets more special.
Wow, look at the sky.
Seems like we're all winners today, Robbie.
Remember, to know is to love.
RPM Tonight, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. on ESPN2.
I would not do it if I did not know the Signores.
They have done a tremendous job with it. And I know when Jay really started working on it, he started getting the cars a lot closer, a lot more competitive with each other.
Barbara and Jay are just, they become friends, and you don't even really feel like that you're working for them or with them. They become friends.
Tucked away behind the Garden State Parkway in Tinton Falls, New Jersey, the International Race of Champions hums on all 8 cylinders 12 months a year. Over 25 highly skilled mechanics keep the fleet fine-tuned and spend thousands of test miles to ensure that the cars are not only as equal as possible, but the safest. By carrying such precious cargo, IROC has always made safety their #1 priority.
It's paramount. The fact that you do the same job 15 times, you have an accelerated learning curve. The way we process the jobs in the shop, we try to do things a little bit on the assembly line process, and we try to keep the same guy doing the jobs.
And in 25 years, there have been moments when those safety limits were tested.
Oh, look out! An incident, and that's Al Unser off the track. The man who's leading the series is off the racetrack. That gives Richard Petty a chance to win it. I hope he's all right. Up over that bank, he appears to be all right. He's moving. There you see Al Unser, them strapping himself. Oh, and Petty was also involved in it.
Well, I take off and run real hard toward where I saw him go over the bank. And I get about halfway there, which is some distance, and Al comes up over the top of this mound of dirt, or this levee, and he's waving, and I see him, and he waves his arms. Okay, he's okay. So I tell him to come on. So I turn around and I run back to Richard. Richard's sitting in the car, and he's still unconscious, and he's leaning, his head's down, and his helmet's rolled forward over his eyes, and he's grunting with his breathing. We get him unstrapped and get him out of the car and take him over, and they've got a van that they furnish. NASCAR has furnished for the safety. It's just a plain old, like a florist van with an army cot in it. And we lay Richard inside on the army cot, and Al and I hold him on there and take him around to the infield hospital. But I never will forget that. He was grunting. He wouldn't let go of that shop towel. He had that clenched in his teeth, and he wasn't going to give it to me.
I remember the first time I ever saw our IROC cars crash at Talladega and saw one flying through the air. I can remember thinking, my God, that I welded that thing together.
Now Unser Jr. trying to give Earnhardt a little bit of a boost as 3 of them get together on the backside and one upside down. Schrader with a tremendous flip, ricochets off the bank. 2 other cars on the backside, all of them into the bank. Caution comes out once again.
I think at this point, the distinction of having the most horrible wreck in IROC history at Talladega. I'd still be flipping today if I didn't land on Little Al. I landed on his hood. It put me back on my feet, and on we went. But I went to the mud puddle upside down with the windshield gone, and it was like a big earth scoop, and it just packed me completely full of mud. I walked over to the ambulance. The crowd was cheering. I thought, I'm great. I'm all right, you know. And they opened the back door, and this woman at the back door looked at me and went,
Well, the one thing that's kind of interesting, though, is you're a laundryman's nightmare right now because he is literally covered head to toe in Talladega mud.
The car did everything it was supposed to do. Like I said, I didn't have a scratch on me, which is a miracle because the car itself, you couldn't hardly tear one up any worse.
From the Camaros of the 1970s and 80s to the Dodge Daytonas of the 90s, and now the Pontiac Firebirds, Jay Signori and his staff have built a reputation among the world's best pilots for delivering the most equally prepared cars possible.
And that's a difficult thing to do because you've got really a bunch of 12 prima donnas coming, arriving at your door.
They do a tremendous job to get those cars as close as they do. I have several times been involved in IROC races where we had those 12 cars within 5/100ths of a second.
They do better than I ever dreamed that you'd be able to do because race cars do have personalities. And, you know, these things are terribly sensitive and hard to make identical.
But a look down the list of those 100 races, and you have to be amazed at the equality of the machines. Many times you could not distinguish what was the green and what was the checkered. At tracks from Michigan to Talladega and Darlington to Daytona, the margin of victory was likely to be in feet instead of seconds. When thought it couldn't get any closer, two men who just happened to be father and son took the philosophy of IROC competition to its apex.
Can't get much of a run down there on the bottom. Earnhardt Jr. looking to the inside once again as they come to the corner. Now he's going to go to the high side. He has to run. Jr. may have it here. He's got a good run up on top. Let's see how it goes. Let's find off your feet. Son and father touch coming down. Man, oh man, finish. Wow, what a finish. What a terrific finish. Golly, that's great. I never thought I'd see anything like that. They don't get any better than that, folks, and listen to the crowd.
With all that stuff you carry around, ever had trouble finding the one thing you need? Like an important receipt or your bank card. Now you can find all your cards and receipts instantly with the amazing Magic Wallet. Is your wallet bursting at the seams? Do you resort to this? You need the Magic Wallet. The Magic Wallet is thin, compact, good-looking, and made of top-quality leather. But watch closely, because you're about to see what makes the Magic Wallet different than any other. Simply put your cash or a receipt inside, close the wallet, and presto, it's magically grabbed and held tight under the strong nylon straps. The Magic Wallet instantly grabs parking stubs, business cards, credit card receipts, and more, so you'll know just where to find them later. But that's not all. These outside pockets hold all your credit cards, driver's license, and more conveniently and securely. And the Magic Wallet still stays thin and streamlined, so it fits easily in your shirt pocket, pants pocket, evening bag, anywhere. The Magic Wallet is handsome, convenient, and fun. Your friends will love it. There's no other wallet like it. It's magic. Old-fashioned wallets and money clips made of high-quality leather like the Magic Wallet can cost $40, $80, even $100. Yet they can't do this. But the genuine leather Magic Wallet costs just $14.95. Plus, you'll get a special free bonus when you call now. Our exclusive auto wallet to hold and organize all your car registration and insurance papers. It's yours free when you order Magic Wallet now. Magic Wallets make great gifts. Call within the next 10 minutes and get two for just $19.95. You save $9.95 and get an auto wallet free. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-544-1717 now to get the amazing Magic Wallet at the special TV price of just $14.95 and get the auto wallet free. Or get two Magic Wallets for just $19.95 and save even more. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Call now 1-800-544-1717. 1-800-544-1717.
Brian Piccolo.
I'm going to blow you out of the lineup.
Gale Sayers. Two players. One goal. Never give up. Brian Song, Sunday, December 2nd on ABC.
the car to watch. You ride with Jack Baldwin now. Can he score a victory here? He's in a key position. He's run a few more of these than Kinser has, but Kinser protecting the position well. Let's see as they come for the checkered flag. Kinser still holding on. Baldwin, he's looking for a racing room to the inside. Can he get the job done? No! Kinser takes the win. Steve Kinser from Sprint Car Racing takes the win with second place Jack Baldwin.
In the 25-year history of the International Race of Champions, there have been a few surprises that turned up in victory lane. 15-time World of Outlaws champion Steve Kinser is a prime example. On the world's largest superspeedway, the short track king wrote a new page of history.
I tell you what, it feels good. It feels good to know I can come off the dirt halfway run. I tell you, I'm happy.
At Michigan, sports car and open wheel star Jeff Brabham bested a bevy of NASCAR regulars, including Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt.
And I always felt if the guy gets the right car on the right day, it's going to be tough. And, finally, it was my turn today.
And for Trans Am road racing champion Scott Pruitt, victory at Daytona in 1991 was not only a surprise, but a sweet one.
To get there, I need to step back. I had a horrible accident in March of 90. Shattered my ankles, broke my knees, broke my back. Was in a wheelchair for 3 months, on crutches for another 3 or 4 months after that. And so I was in pretty bad shape, but still my single focus was getting back to racing. The first race I did for myself was the IROC at Daytona that year. And in the closing stages, we had a pretty good car. I was racing with Bill Elliott, kind of wheel to wheel.
Scott Pruitt holding on now. And here comes Elliott with a charge, but it's going to be a little late. As Scott Pruitt, if he can protect the position to the line, the checkered flag goes to Scott Pruitt, and he's picked up the win.
To beat the NASCAR's best, Sam and Paul, was quite an achievement, like you said, of this young man.
Going through that process, you never really know, is it all worth it? Am I going to be back when I get back in the car? Am I going to do what I used to do? Am I going to have that edge? Am I going to be, you never know what's upstairs until you get out and do it. And to come back and to get a victory was like, okay, this is all behind me now.
As unique as the 106 diverse drivers who have participated in IROC are some of the venues they have visited. After Riverside Raceway closed in 1988, scenic Watkins Glen International became the setting for several memorable championship finales. The sweeping new California Speedway in Fontana welcomed the series in 1997. Even Darlington, the track too tough to tame, lived up to its reputation.
I must have just blinked for a moment or just lost my concentration for a split second. And I mean, I smacked that wall as hard as I could. I said, oh, this is it. The car's ruined. And the damn thing kept on going fine. I can't believe I took a smack like that, and this thing is still rolling.
We've had a truly great relationship with the Bill France Sr.'s family of people, and the different sanctioning bodies that have participated in the racing series.
While Daytona has served as the high-powered season opener, officials have always had their eye on another landmark track. And with rumblings that NASCAR might be coming to the Brickyard, IROC made a test stop in Indianapolis.
That's when we started bringing in some of the other test drivers that helped us out, because we could have a 4-car race and just see how it would work. And that was several years before we ended up having our first race in Indianapolis.
The word leaked out about us going to Indy. It kind of got some excitement going. And I think the drivers think that, the open wheel guys think they have a handle on Indy. They know it better than the stock car guys, so it kind of puts them on a level playing field.
In front of a huge crowd, IROC took the green in August of 1998. While Jimmy Vasser jumped out into the early lead, traffic was tight behind him. Just 3 laps later, 2-time Indy 500 champion Arie Luyendyk had a horrific crash. Ironically, new soft walls were being tested on the inside of Turn 4, the exact spot where Luyendyk hit. The debris field was massive, and Arie's careening car was narrowly missed.
I looked at the video, and I still don't understand why I was knocked out right away, because it didn't seem that hard. Especially with the fact that in front of the wall they had a soft wall in front of it. And after going through that accident and after seeing everything, I really believe that soft wall might have saved my life.
Mark Martin added his name to the history annals as the inaugural winner. The victory also clinched his third straight IROC championship, a feat that has gone untouched. Mark's amazing run in this series includes 10 wins and earnings of $1,275,000.
It was absolutely phenomenal. I remember when we did it the third time, it was like, well, you know, I don't know how I've got everybody fooled, but, you know, and I don't know how this is happening, but it's really good for me, and it was good for my career. It was quite an ego stroke to be able to pull that off and climb out of that car and have people say, how did you do that?
Do you love your cat but wish the litter box could scoop itself? Then join the 1.5 million cats and their owners who've discovered the amazing Litter-Maid self-cleaning litter box.
There's no more odor, it's more sanitary, and my cats love it. So do I.
The Litter-Maid litter box motion detector senses your cat entering the box. After 10 minutes, the raking cycle begins. The clumps are scooped into the waste receptacle, and then the rake smooths out the litter as it returns to the start position. A safety bar stops the rake if touched. When the waste receptacle is full, typically 1 week for a home with one cat, simply remove it and toss it away.
A messy litter box can create health problems and be a real chore. That's why many veterinarians like myself recommend the Litter-Maid self-cleaning litter box.
Order the Litter-Maid Mega Self-Cleaning Litter Box, and you'll also receive the Cat Paw Cleaning Ramp, the Cat Privacy Tent, 12 refill containers, and a 1-year subscription to Cat Fancy Magazine, free. For more information or to order yours, call now.
Tony Kornheiser, Michael Wilbon. I just didn't want you to know. Two guys with a lot on their minds. We've got issues. Shaq and Kobe didn't get along. I don't like you, and we're going to have to do this show together. Now they're teaming up for Pardon the Interruption. Nice name. A new show on ESPN. Sports and other stuff. We're fat, we're bald, we're old, we're white. And one of us is blind. Pardon the Interruption. 5:30 p.m. Eastern, weekdays on ESPN. And again at 7 on ESPN2. It's not pretty. PTI.
ESPN and Universal have teamed up to bring you the Spy Game Countdown to Kickoff Challenge. Log on to ESPN.com/contests and receive your first assignment. Don't miss the opening of Spy Game, November 21st, and tune in to ESPN's Monday Night Countdown for clues.
When they'd introduce us in Daytona, it was as if the earth had opened. Everybody started screaming when Earnhardt would be introduced. It was very humiliating to be introduced after him, as he pointed out to me afterwards. He said, you see the difference? And I said, yes, I did.
It's Kemp and Ricky Rudd and Earnhardt moving down to the inside as they're three abreast coming across the line, and Earnhardt takes it.
In the 25-year history of IROC, no one dominated Daytona and enjoyed it more than Dale Earnhardt. From 1992 through 2000, Dale won 6 times, each a masterful presentation of patience, intimidation, and timing. The 2001 race, however, did not unfold according to plan. Caught up in an early accident with Jeff Burton, he joined the others on pit road during a red flag to clean debris off his tires. At the time, it was hard to tell whether the colorful cosmetic tape job would be enough.
We started working together. Actually, that's not true. He said that we'd work together because he would do that. He would put his hand up, and everybody does it. They say, come with me. And I followed. I followed, and a few times I wanted to get off that train to get on another one, but I stuck with it. He's giving me all these signals, let's go left, let's go right, and I'm following it. With 5 laps to go, there's no one ahead of us, and there's no more signals coming. So I figured, okay, that must mean that now it's just you and I. And people have to put themselves in my shoes. Here I am racing at Daytona with the king of stock car racing, the king, the man.
With 2 laps.
Kenny,
and they touch into turn. Earnhardt is in the grass.
Look at him hang on to that car. Big save.
Amazing. He did not crash.
Great save, but a bad, terrible move by Beaver.
I was right behind it, found it rather interesting, and that kind of took the term blocking to another level. I found myself, thought that I'd cost myself a chance to win the race whenever I found myself being amazed that Dale Earnhardt didn't wreck the race car.
With Earnhardt relegated to the back, Cheever hung onto the lead, took the white flag, and took on the remainder of NASCAR's draftmeisters, Rudd, Jarrett, and Labonte, and their newest student, Kenny Breck.
Rudd and Cheever are side by side as they head down the backstretch for the final time. They're still trading paint on those Pontiac Trans Am Firebirds, and Cheever suddenly darts to the inside, and that opens up the hole for Dale Jarrett, who go up and battle to the inside of Rudd. And now Breck comes up and bumps Jarrett in the back end. 5 cars go at it here for the win in round number 1 of the True Value IROC 25. Down off corner number 4. Rudd and Jarrett touch. They head for the line. Who's it going to be? Jarrett with the inside line, and Dale Jarrett wins by just a matter of a foot or so.
The fans had been treated to yet another thrilling IROC Daytona photo finish. But Dale Earnhardt was about to have the last word.
When I looked up at the screen, I saw something spinning down the back straightaway. I said, you can't, who is that? And then somebody said, oh, that's Cheever. I said, you can't. I said, how did he spin on a cool-off lap? And I didn't realize that Earnhardt had given him a tap until the cars were in pit road.
I wasn't even thinking about him. I was thinking about the fact that I'd just been snookered. I was leading and I had been snookered. And so I was working all that out in my head. On the back stretch, all of a sudden my car starts to spin. It wasn't a hard hit. It was just a tap in the right place, and I started spinning. And as I'm spinning, I knew exactly, obviously, what it was. And so I go back to the pits. And as I'm going back, there's cans are bouncing off my car, Coke cans or beer cans. So I can tell the fans are not very happy.
I started to walk down pit road, and I never saw so many reporters and writers running out in this massive humanity on pit road. And so what's going on here? I couldn't even get near them.
I come to a stop, and the crew chief says, I think you better stay in the car for a while. I'm thinking, oh, this is great. Oh, isn't this good? I'm going to get into a fight with Earnhardt in front of 120,000 NASCAR fans. I couldn't think of a worse nightmare to have. So I sit in the car, and here comes Earnhardt walking down with a posse of probably 100 journalists behind him. So not only am I going to get an ass kicking or have them in a fight, there's going to be journalists there to witness it.
I never hit a man in a car.
I owe you an apology.
I never hit a man in a car.
I owe you an apology. What side?
All right, I ain't gonna kill you. I mean, wait, do you think maybe you kind of gained a few fans today?
No, I saw a lot of people with one finger and it was pointing down. He said, you better bring your best game to Talladega. And I was really looking forward to that. I think everybody has a different reason why they miss Earnhardt not being here. But to this day, I'm very saddened by the fact that I never got to race with him again.
2 days later, Dale Earnhardt died on the last lap of the Daytona 500. Bobby Labonte went on to win at Talladega, and in an emotional victory lane shared his feelings on the mark Dale Earnhardt left on the International Race of Champions.
The thing that means the most to me today is that, last year we beat Earnhardt here, and we had a lot of good competitors today, but, Earnhardt, this is for him because this series was a lot with him in it. So, anyway, it was a great win today, and just glad to come home first, and the number three is always on our mind.
That same passion is felt by many of the 106 world-class drivers who have competed in IROC. If asked, would they go at it again?
You bet. You bet. Anytime, anywhere.
Man, if I win this thing for the 6th time, maybe that would give me an invite back to IROC.
If he would invite me, I would go right away. You better believe it.
If I had a better car, yes.
Oh, you're darn right I would. I'd go run that IROC again in a heartbeat.
The success I've had in IROC, has meant more to me than anything else I've done in my career.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.